Guys, what is up? I'm going to be tier ranking every book that I've read so far this year. I think it comes to 21 books. But first and foremost, I want to shout out Phil and Ian for making similar type videos to this one and inspiring me, but also just inspiring me to read all these books. Let's get after it. First up, Project Hail Mary. I'm going to throw this one right in A tier. I had a really good time reading it, and I read it because of the amazing reviews I kept hearing everyone talk about. On top of that, I knew the movie was coming out, so I figured why not? It would be a fun idea. And it was a great read. I had a lot of fun reading it. The only thing holding this book back for me is honestly just some of the science stuff. For a plot that was super smooth and super fast paced, some of the science stuff kind of threw it off for me, slowed it down a little bit, but still, I mean, this book is amazing. I would definitely recommend you read it if you haven't. But yeah, great book, A tier. Second book I read was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I'm going to throw this thing right into S tier, I'm not going to lie. I went to Barnes & Noble one day just looking around with my friends. I saw that Agatha Christie, besides the Bible and Shakespeare, was the third leading selling in terms of books or something. And I was like, huh? Bro, I picked up And Then There Were None, devoured that thing. Holy crap. Before getting into reading, if you told me that I would debate skipping a class at college to read a book, I would have been like, no way. But that was literally what happened, I swear. Because at first I started reading before bed just to establish a better routine for myself. But I knew a book was fire when I started reading it outside of that time frame. And Then There Were None fits that category, bro. S tier. So good. Next up, The Rage of Dragons. S tier again. Holy crap. I not only got this book recommendation from philgotbooks, but also Smitty. And let me tell you, for a guy that likes Batman, this literally felt like a Batman comic. Tao was full of rage and vengeance the whole time, and I absolutely loved every second of it. S tier, easy decision for me. Hondo by Louis L'Amour, A tier. I told my grandma I started to get back into reading, and she told me how my great-grandpa loved Louis L'Amour, and I thought, why not? Let's check it out. This book was short, it was entertaining, it reminded me of my grandpa. I honestly loved it. A tier. Eye of the Needle, S tier. Shout out to Brian Lee Durfee on YouTube. He inspired me to read this book. He talked really well about it. And this thing from the first chapter had me on the edge of my seat. Like, I didn't even realize a book could do that. But this was the first book where I genuinely did not want it to end. Easy S tier, easy decision for me. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, B tier. This was a really interesting book. I had a good time reading it, but honestly, since it was written by a former spy, sometimes I felt like I was being tricked as well. I didn't even know what was going on some of the time, but in general, it's a cool espionage story set during the Cold War that talks about the moral ambiguity of espionage. It was kind of interesting. I would recommend it. B tier. Alright, all my books just fell down, but I'm doing the Iliad and the Odyssey together because I read them for class. They both are going in B tier. I honestly prefer the Iliad more to the Odyssey, but I recognize how great and how significant they both are. Hector, bro. Hector is the absolute GOAT. I love him. And the Odyssey was interesting. It was a fun ride, but I honestly expected to like it more than I did. I don't know. But either way, both great books. I'm glad that I read them. Alright, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Bro, this is S tier. I will not even waste any time. During this newfound hobby of reading, I took my friends to a bookstore near my college. I picked this up because I heard good things about it, and I destroyed this thing, dude. My friends and I were hanging out. I was like, hey, I'm going to go upstairs, just chill out. Started reading it. Bro, I finished it in one sitting. It was such a blast trying to figure out who committed the murder. I read for about 7 hours straight. I'm not even going to lie to you. S tier. The Mysterious Affair at Styles. Not going to lie, you can probably sense the theme of Agatha Christie. I kind of just went on a run. I started looking up best books by her. I saw that this was her first one. I was like, why not? Let's check it out. I'm going to give this a B tier. It was a fun story, short, but just not as engaging as the other ones that I read. Meditations, S tier. Not only was this sort of my first philosophy kind of book, but I've just had so many great takeaways from this book. I've tabbed it a lot. I've annotated a lot. A lot of those annotations affect every single day how I think and how I operate, so I love this book. The Picture of Dorian Gray, B tier. This was my first classic, and I was excited to dive into classics, and I thought it was a really, really, really entertaining story. Yo, sorry for all the reallys. But it was a cool story. I liked it. But dude, that middle section, I don't know what chapter it was, but I didn't even know what I was reading. It was just pages on pages of random descriptions of things. Yeah, but great story. B tier. Piranesi, A tier. I like this book a ton. I think it was a little bit overhyped, but it was a fun little mystery, short book, easy read. I had a lot of fun with it. A tier. Sword of Kaigen, A tier. Another book, kind of like Piranesi, where I had a lot of high expectations going into it because of how great people said it was. And I thought it was a really good book. but I think that experience of having all that hyped, or those hyped opinions going into the book, definitely affected how I read it, and I wish I would have read it with a different lens, because it is a beautiful story. A tier, good book. East of Eden, S plus tier, dude. I'm still new to classics, so I was a little intimidated by this, especially because, like Sword of Kaigen and Piranesi, I heard so many good things about this book. But I don't think this book will never not live up to expectations. I took away so many good things from this book. Classic good and evil story, but also talking about the everyday choice that we have to do the right thing or not to do the right thing. This is the most relatable book I've read so far, and this is the one that I think I'll reread the most down the rest of my life. Easy S tier. Crime and Punishment, S tier. Bro, I was so excited to get into Dostoevsky, and I was intimidated, I cannot lie. I would take highlighters and highlight every single sentence that I thought was important just to try to get the best grasp of things. But in general, the plot is super entertaining. FYI, try to keep track of the character names. It does get a little bit confusing, but I think you can handle it. I'm saying that as if I know you, but I believe in you. Genuinely, really, really happy that I read this. Really glad that I got this under my belt, and I'm excited to read more of Dostoevsky. S tier. Pillars of the Earth, A tier. Once again, I think this is just a struggle of being a new reader, but hearing exceptional reviews about a book and then going into it with that mindset, this did feel like it fell a little bit short for me. It was still a great book with great characters, great plot development, but it did feel a little bit repetitive at times, and I think that threw me off a little bit. But in general, great book for a historical fiction lover. I'm glad I read it due to the fact that so many people say it's their favorite book of all time or top 5, but I would say A tier. Still a good book. I don't think I've mentioned Murder on the Orient Express yet. That book is an A tier for me. It was a really enjoyable read. One of those books where I just could not stop reading. I couldn't put it down. It's always fun with Agatha Christie to try and guess who did it. That's why I love them so much. Maybe in the future I'll try to do a video where I guess the killer while I'm reading. I think that would be fun. But yeah, I would put Murder on the Orient Express as an A tier. Great book. I would read it if I were you. Really fun. Last but not least, The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. C tier, bro. Maybe even D tier. The author came out and said that he didn't even know who killed someone in this book. He said he forgot. For me, I like mystery stories where it all comes together and you realize a big aha moment. Bro, the author didn't even know what was happening in this book. I get that it's supposed to be a classic for the crime noir era or genre, but I learned pretty quickly that that wasn't for me. It was still a short book, so not too taxing on me. But yeah, in general, didn't really like it. I'm going to put it D tier, I think. I'm sorry, guys. I realized that I forgot 2 books, so that was awesome. But Crooked House by Agatha Christie, S tier. Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, B tier. Crooked House, short story, really entertaining. I absolutely loved it. But short story, really entertaining. I could definitely sense that this book heavily inspired the first Knives Out movie. S tier for Crooked House. Death on the Nile, there's more of a setup to this one as compared to some of her other books. And honestly, I just thought it was boring. I was also able to guess the killer, not trying to brag, but I did. And I don't know, something about this book just didn't click with me. I was just so used to something with Agatha Christie of fast pace, always trying to guess, that the slower pace of this one just threw me off. I just didn't like this much. Still B tier though, still entertaining. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into my video, and thank you so much to Phil and Ian for inspiring me to read, for inspiring this video, for pumping out great content. I just want to leave you guys with this. Reading is awesome. Reading is fun. I think it's important to find good recommendations, to find books that you will like. It's obviously subjective, but hopefully I was able to provide you with some information on what made me turn into a reader. And yeah, I'm excited to keep growing in this. Now I'm low-key addicted though, so might need a bigger bookshelf.